All units, stand by.
Like, something happened and someone's scheming somebody, and I'm just confused.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mint Meltdown, Lenny and Juanzie. And we have a special guest today that we're very excited to introduce, and I'll let Juanzie introduce.
Today we have the founder of Project Shield, Tom, and I'm probably going to mess up your last name, Schneringer? Did I say that right?
Tom Schneringer, but yeah, pretty close.
Oh, welcome, Tom. Thank you for coming to our show. So can you tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the NFT space?
Absolutely. So I come from a project management background. I've dealt with multi-million-dollar projects, startups, project management offices, and really kind of my origin story is I was out on TikTok one day and watched someone actually flip a NFT for several thousands of dollars in a matter of minutes. And I was just like, wow, why can't I do that? So I started really looking in and found a couple projects I thought looked attractive and bought into them. And like anybody trying to flip for the first time, I actually lost pretty much all my mint funds. And that kind of brings me into the origin story of Project Shield is one of those projects actually completely rugged. And then there was the sister project that was attached to it that looked like it was about to rug. And it as a predominant member of that community, I was trying to save it. And I got introduced to a lot of detanglement projects like the Sanctuary, Rug Shield or Rug Services Investigators, and realized that there is a huge market out there. And if you've ever spent any time in any of those communities, like every 10th message is, hey, I think I got rugged, who would I talk to? And it really got me thinking about why are there so many rugs? And it really comes down to there's no accountability when we set up a project. And
right. Tom, can I just interrupt you just in case we have folks that are listening that aren't familiar with the terminology? Could you explain what a rug is, please?
Yeah, it's kind of a generalized term that people use all over the place, but I look at it as the project is no longer being delivered per the roadmap. The funds have been stolen, the funds have been spent or misappropriated, and the holders are left with a worthless picture at that point.
So you're, and I like that definition, in fact, but what I've seen is you talk about two different things. There's the projects where all along it was a scam, and the rug is just the day after the minting, they pull all the funds and they're gone. But you also mentioned the kind of rug that's just like poor management, unprofessional business people that just kind of overpromise and underdeliver and drive a project into the ground. Is that correct? You put them together?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so you did, now I think I may have misunderstood you, but did you say you got into Project Shield because it was a rug?
No. I created Project Shield because I seen that there was a huge hole in the market to prevent rugs.
You were part of a project that was rugged.
Exactly. I've actually never intended on creating an NFT project at all. And then just seeing the other half of how you have to rebuild a project if you're passionate about it, kind of developed and blossomed into Project Shield.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Would you mind sharing what project you were part of a rug, or any details on that led you to say, hey, I need to make a change in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys have actually mentioned it a few times on your on past episodes, but I was in Slack, sophisticated ape lit connoisseurs, and then the potential rug, which is kind of still out there and they're trying to develop, but I mean it's kind of a disaster, is Zyducks.
Oh. No.
That was our first episode.
Fucking Psyducks. Oh my God.
Wow. And I'm still a holder in that. Are you still holding, Lenny?
Oh yeah. I got a 777 and I think 3 of the other fucking ducks with laser eyes and all that, and that are just sitting around asking Jordan, "What are we going to do next?" Oh my
So,
god!
King Arthur, do you have any ducks left?
Yes, I have close to 54 Gen Zero and like 11,777.
Wow.
So it hurt you a lot more than it hurt us.
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. And the only reason I haven't, it's not that I'm a believer in it.
No.
It's really, I don't want to sell them for peanuts. So I'm hoping
Right.
the delivery of their roadmap, if it ever comes to fruition, raises those, because right now I just can kind of consider those a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So you had the same, we went through a similar experience. You recognized that these rugs are, whether it be straight up scams or really poor management, you recognized there was a hole in the industry for what?
For someone to really step in and set projects up for long-term success. So the idea behind Shield is it's kind of really three-phase, but the major one that will be our bread and butter will be the giving our trusted seal behind a project. So we've seen some really good progress with Prupa Pizza and Civic Pass, where projects can go to them and say, "Hey, this is who I am." But what we've learned is all they really do is they turn the names over to authorities, and you kind of cross your fingers that someone gets them, right? And meanwhile, you're still left holding a worthless NFT. Or even the harder part is you go to a team like Sanctuary, and you go through detanglement, and it's super, super expensive. We are actually looking at, just in case the Cydex community ended up rugging, it was almost $150,000 to detangle that community that we would have had to either pony up or figure out a project going down the road to fund all of that. And that's
So sorry to interrupt you again, but you're using another term I'm not familiar with. So what do you mean by detangle? I know what detangling means, but in this sense, I'm not sure what you mean.
Gotcha. So detanglement in a sense is you're you're part of a project that, sorry, my dogs are going a little crazy now, man. Let's say you are passionate about a project, you believe in the roadmap, you have a good community, and you just run. There's no money left, you don't own the intellectual property, you don't have the metadata, you don't have the art rights. So in order to move forward on a project, you actually need to detangle yourself from the old regime. So you need to actually create your own metadata. So now you have to go through and create your own art. Sanctuary is really where I took a lot of inspiration from, because I just sat in there and I heard a lot of it, and I seen the headache you have to go through to rebuild. You have to have kind of a pet project to fund all of this, but you're essentially creating a new project under the old name, and that's the detanglement.
Got you. Okay. Thank you. So you recognize that to do this detangling, you said 150,000 to get a project detangled and move forward.
Yeah. The size of Cydox. If you're a
Right.
smaller project, it's kind of a per NFT cost, but
Sure.
I mean that's pretty pricey for someone that's just trying to save something they left.
So just, Tom, when you say detangle, just to sort of have a little bit of clear, you're derugging the project. Is that what they're doing with detangling through Sanctuary in a way?
Exactly. Yeah. So they're derugging. So the derugging is the rebuilding process.
Mm-hmm.
The detanglement is more ownership rights, being able to sell and get those royalties, being able to change the metadata and have your update authority across the board. That's really where the quote unquote detanglement is, and then the derug process is the rebuilding. You're going to need funds to go through and do that. So that's when you need a pet project to really go and hold another mint and have everyone buy back their NFT and rebuild that community. It's really a headache, but I mean, it's a booming business because there's so many rugs out there right now.
Right. So, and obviously you're keyed into this market. How often do these rugged projects have a group that then want to step in, detangle and derug the projects? Is it a significant amount of time?
So I really don't have a statistic on that, but
Yeah,
just
sure.
sitting in these communities and seeing who do I talk to? Who do I talk to? And then actually seeing the ones that go through the process are far and few between. And I think it
Yeah,
really is the funds and the time, and it's a big commitment when you've
sure.
already lost your money. Why am I going to put money into these
Why?
again?
Why even stick around? Right, exactly. So I'm part of, I don't know if you've heard of Balloonsville. I was not a part of them originally, and they were a full rug, bullshit rug. Like the guy just took all the money and said, see you nerds, and left. And then because they're a Magic Eden Launchpad project, Magic Eden had to get egg off of their face. So they derug them. I don't know if they had to detangle them because maybe they own the rights. I'm not sure, but I joined for a different reason. I wasn't part of the original,
Right.
the ones that lost. I just joined in thinking, oh man, maybe the hype from this may be profitable. So I did join in one derugging. It was still looking good too. They're actually working pretty hard on that.
Yeah, I was going to say,
So then
how's that going? I've heard a lot about Bluesville too.
it's actually doing really well. They've got some cool things coming up. So there's no way, like I get exactly what you're saying, because this had Magic Eden, and for those that don't know, Magic Eden is a marketplace, but also can be a launchpad. And they stepped in when that would be like, I mean, you couldn't even imagine OpenSea doing this, but that would be like OpenSea stepping in and saying, "Oh, this was a rug. We're going to save them. We're going to bring them back." And the reason they did that was because as part of their launch pad, they had to vet them out and verify that this is not a rug. And they were straight up a rug. And they said that they were lying about everything and no one really checked. They had an actor that stood in to talk to Magic Eden on the phone or whatever, and it was a complete rug. So sorry. So we keep digressing. So Tom, you have Magic Shield that you got to the point in the story where you're recognizing that these detanglings are very expensive. So what was your opportunity there?
Gotcha. Yeah, it really comes down to we're looking at those proof of pizza. We're looking at those where I've been in a lot of mints where you see all those people come in an hour or two and they're, hey, it's the team doxed. And there's that trusted, oh yeah, Civic Pass docked them. And they're like, cool. And then they go and mint. But I'm trying to take that way, way, way beyond the current status quo of are they doxed, and actually go through and say, are they vetted? So you nailed it right there with Magic Eden, is they supposedly talked to him on the phone, they did all of these things, but they didn't really dive into it. So part of Project
Right.
Shield is going beyond that doxing and saying, hey, okay, show me your roadmap. Great, now show me the financials that you're going to be using on the mint itself. Show me how you're going to get from mint all the way to the final delivery of the last step on your roadmap, and really diving through those finances and maybe even kind of guiding them along and saying, hey, have you put in your website hosting? Have you put in your node for your staking token? Have you, and build a full financial network and look at both of them and say, this is viable. You have some contingency here in case prices go up. What's your plan with the actual money? Are you keeping it in the token that you mint on, or are you putting into a stable coin? Have you allotted for the fluctuation in that stable coin either way? And really diving through and also looking at the person that is delivering the project and just
Yeah.
seeing, can this person deliver on this roadmap?
Right.
And
Right.
that's a big thing. I mean, there's going to be actors out there, but really diving into it, and when you're putting this much up front, you can really kind of separate the BS from the ones that are really good out there.
Yeah, I love it. I totally get it. My day job, I own a company, and we spend a lot of time with business plans. And you're totally right. Like on any good business plan, you have the CV for any of the any of the founders. It's right there, and you can look through it. You can check references. You can see who they are, and regardless of the idea, if you have a bunch of knuckleheads that are saying, I have this brilliant idea, no one's going to give them money because they don't have any experience or any way to show that they can make this happen. That's what happens in the traditional world. We get into this digital world and people go crazy, and you have a cool looking duck and everyone throws money at it, and the people behind it are a bunch of gangsters, man. And it just, I'm so glad you're doing this. So Project Shield, is this a NFT project that you can get invested into, or are you guys a vetting agency, like a for-profit outside of this world vetting agency?
It will be an NFT project. So we are going to have our first launch. We're actually going to launch it to coincide with the dropping of this podcast. The website's already up, projectshield.net, and our Twitter is currently active at Project Shield King Arthur. Both of them are live, and we want to build that community up a little bit before launching our Discord, because we don't want people joining in it being crickets. But we have some really great mods that are very active in the community. We have kind of really everything all set up. We have all of the development done. We're going to finish up the art this week and start posting teasers. But we're hoping for a 60-day launch. So 60 days of marketing, and then we will mint the first project, which is Shield, which will be 1,111 NFTs. And then that is actually one of 5 scheduled mints for this. Sounds like a lot, but the first 2 are really just your money mints, and then the last 6 are actually evolutions where you kind of get to play with your knight a little bit. So the second one is Knight. And that's going to be 5,555. Anybody that holds a shield will actually get a free knight. That's just kind of your Series A was the shield, and you got us to our final one, and that is kind of your payback of your investment there. And then really at every step, there's a whole ecosystem behind Project Shield, and I hadn't even finished describing the best part of Project Shield and why anybody would go through this really deep dive into the financial side. And that's because Project Shield will actually be putting our money where our mouth is. And if we do happen to have a project that does fail to complete the roadmap, Project Shield will actually refund every single holder the original mint price of that NFT.
Wow.
So every original minter will be, because is it going to be only people that minted originally? Because what if I came in, I minted, and then I sold it in the second market?
Good question.
It's every holder. So if you're currently holding that NFT, and then part of that is if you do end up, it does rug while you're holding it. It doesn't matter what you bought it for. It's really what the original mint price was.
Oh, that's perfect.
And there will be like an exchange website, or we'll take a picture and airdrop all of that money back to you. Hopefully we don't get to that part, because we are really setting this up for long-term success, not only vetting the project, but there's some ins and outs, like creating multi-signature wallets where all funds go into the multi-signature wallet, and you need a member of Shield to sign off on it.
Nice.
And that's per roadmap. So I need $100,000. Okay, where's it going? How's it going? Give me invoices. You vet it just like you would any accounting firm, and then you sign off on it because it meets that roadmap. And that's really how we go through and protect the holders. I've been talking with my marketing manager and said, as we go through this, I want to make it very clear that these projects are coming to us for our shield of protection, but we don't work for them. We work for our investors, and we work for their investors as well. And that's going to be the biggest thing is we have to protect our investors, and we have to protect their investors. If it causes some hurt feelings, it causes some hurt feelings, but ultimately at the end of the day, we're doing what's right and trying to deliver on what they said they can deliver on.
So, and I love that. So Tom, I imagine then a good percentage of the folks that apply to get that shield, what are you calling it? Your validation? What do you call that?
Our trusted shield or protection, kind of in the works, but right. Shield of protection or shield of trust.
Shield of trust. So anyone that I got to imagine you're turning a lot of folks away, because if you're putting your neck out like that, I know if it was me, I would I'd be very careful about who I did approve.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's going to be a fine line in we have to show returns to our investors because ultimately that's why they invested in this NFT. And we also have to protect their interests because part of that insurance pool, there's no one out there that offers insurance on NFTs right now.
Right.
So we actually have partnered with Bridge Mutual. We're currently going through, they're setting up a whole new project or product for us based around this. And more than half of the mint will actually go into one of their risk pools to kind of sit there, and that's what we're using to act as our insurance. So we're planning on having a $1 million pool for the NFTs to be backed by, and then we just have to make sure that we don't back anything that has more than $1 million in initial mint funds. But going through and protecting them, protecting that pool, making sure we are vetting every invoice that comes in is going to be very important, because if we do happen to rug, it comes out of the pool, and then there's less security on our insurance, and we have to repopulate it there.
Wow.
And are you going to be doxing every single developer in the project, or just the owners, or is there going to be like, hey, these are exactly who's working on the project? How is that for accountability in that part of the project?
So kind of two-phase. So for Project Shield, I plan on being doxed. My marketing manager's doxing. I'm encouraging all of my Discord members to dox. I will require my DAO to be doxed, because I believe in that accountability, and I want to be that public company where you can point and say, hey, most trusted name in the NFT business, these are the people that run it, and there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Now, going into the who we go and give our shield of trust to, ideally we would ask that they would dox. We're not going to force them, but we're going to force them to dox to us, but openly, publicly dox would be the most ideal way. That way there's some accountability behind there, but we ultimately will know who they are, and have no problem going through and handing that over and chasing it down. We are going to be very selective in the countries that we allow these our trusted shield to be into, because we need that recourse to go in. So we're not going to go into like a Nigeria or something like that where there's no recourse at all. So being selective and being thoughtful and careful with who we back with that is definitely going to be important.
And the other question that I had for you was, are you going to be working with projects mainly on the Solana blockchain or the Ethereum blockchain, or it doesn't matter which one as long as they're within $1 million initial mint?
Going cross-chain is definitely the idea. It doesn't matter what you're spending your money in or how it comes in. It's setting that project up for long-term success. So it doesn't matter if you're Polygon or your Ethereum or Solana. We're going to be minting on the Solana network, just because I don't believe in spending all that money in gas fees.
Awesome.
It's real simple.
That is amazing. And what's my main question is, what's the mint price that you guys are going to be coming out of? That's going to be, I want to invest. I'm already interested, so I'm ready to put some Solana aside for you guys.
Yeah, no, I have no problem going into that because our financials are done, and I want them to be. If you go in and you look at our website, you see what percentage we're spending everything on, and it being the most trusted and being open and transparent. All of our wallets are going to be there, so you're going to see it anyways. I'm aiming for.
Wow, that was the perfect dramatic cut. It's like, I am aiming for bum bum bum.
Or what do you think he's gonna say?
I'm gonna go for 0.25 Solana. I don't know.
I think it's higher.
Maybe 1 Solana?
I think it's higher. I think so. I don't know.
But I'm loving this project, Lenny. I mean, while King Arthur, Tom comes back online with us, what do you think of it? I mean, protecting projects, helping people not lose their money, getting your initial mint price back, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I do too. On both sides of that, I would feel much these days, and there's 100,000 new projects every day, it seems like. Right? And so I'm just not even trying to learn about most of them, but to know that there was someone out there vetting them, not all the big whale hunter bots and guys that talk about, the next flip, but someone that says these guys are truly going to come through. We vetted them out. That sounds cool. But what I'm more interested in is being on the investor side of this, because generally speaking, insurance companies do pretty well. I worked for an insurance company for a long time, and we did very well. And that is because, insurance is the best thing. And people always think it was ironic, but insurance companies spend a lot of money trying to keep people healthy. We're talking about medical insurance, because that reduces the amount of claims. So I assume that, and it's different with medical insurance because you can't turn anyone away in certain situations once you've taken them in. So, Tom, are you back with us?
I am. I apologize. I'm in Arizona. It's starting to heat up. My phone went into thermal.
Oh no! You cut us off right at the epic
epic mint price. The mint price will be dun dun dun.
Oh man!
Tom, before you say anything, we both guessed what it would be.
All right.
So I went with 1 sol, and Juanzie went with 0.25. Who was closer?
So Price is Right game, you won.
Yeah.
We're actually looking at about 2 sol.
2 sol. All right.
About $200.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said, that makes sense, because it just, for something with the amount of them that you're doing, which is a smaller number, it makes sense that there would be a higher buy-in for essentially a piece of the company. It just sounds like a really good deal.
That's exactly what it is. And the projects under Project Shield are going to be more expensive because you have that security in the back end. So when we go through and we start marketing to these new projects that come in, and we say that we're going to be taking X amount of the mint price, that has to be built in a long term. And you're not just getting the project that they're delivering, you're getting the security of knowing that they're a vetted project, that if they do rug, you're going to get your money back. So, all of that comes at a cost.
Yeah. Right. So I'm thinking through this, and I'm thinking about sitting in your boardroom as an advisor. I got to imagine you can't insure them forever. I know you said roadmap completion, but you've seen some of these guys out here writing 5-year roadmaps. How long does your insurance cover?
So that is a really great question. And I've really started diving into this a little bit more, because we'd like to do full project roadmap. But I think that the roadmaps we're seeing that are multi-year are not necessarily what the mint funds are going to fund. You're going to have revenue that's going to start coming in, that you're building it out. So really, in that vetting process is going and saying, okay, from your mint, what are you delivering? And then that is that cutoff right there. And then that's where we go through and make sure that we have all of that backing to make sure all of the financials and everything set up so we can deliver on that. Because if someone's got a 5-year roadmap and they're trying to operate something for $200,000-$300,000 for 5 years, they're probably not going to be successful to begin with.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And anyone that invests in an NFT project, I don't think should expect for you guys to support that multi-year. We just want to get them past the mint day and, the 3 months maybe following that as they deliver on the things they promised. I love it. I really love it. So I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be buying some. As a holder, what do I get?
Oh man, there's so much to this.
Show me the money.
So not only we're going to be DAO run from day one. Everyone's going to be doxxed. We're putting a big portion of the money into a DAO community wallet that they can do whatever they please with it. Is that give it to charity? Is that sweep the floor? Is that put into a staking token? So I do plan on having a staking token with that. And that is strictly to give back revenue across the board. So as we go through and we're creating that revenue, a big portion of it is actually going back to the holders. Almost 50% of all revenue going in is going into that staking token and building that liquidity pool, however the DAO says. And I caveat that on maybe it's buying tokens to raise the price and burning those tokens. Maybe it's holding them later to leverage them. Maybe it's just splitting it up and adding USDC with the staking token to just make the pool a little bit more stable. But every step of the way, revenue, the insurance premiums to buy into our pool, that all of that is going back to the holders of the NFT at every single step that we can do it, because without revenue going back to them, our NFT is going to nosedive. So it's constantly returning the profits back to them, so they continue to stay, and then those NFTs grow with them as well.
So are you guys also using a royalty structure in order for also in the second sales create some revenue for the company?
Absolutely. So I am looking right now. I think in my financials I have 7% of the royalties going back. So obviously there's no hiding it. We make NFTs to make money. So at every step of the way, I'm actually making money as well. So you can actually see there's a creator fund out of the mint that it comes back, and I separated it out where I'm actually paying my mods and I'm paying the DAO, because the DAO, it's going to be a job. You're going to have to constantly vet, and you're going to have to do this. So keeping the right people engaged long term.
I love that. I love, Tom, I love your honesty and transparency. There's so many projects that hide what they're getting paid, that there's money, we're making money, we're not doing this just because we want to. Like, there's so many that as soon as you see that, you're like, okay, I don't trust you. And you just come right out and say it. I love it.
Most trusted name in the NFT space. That's the goal. But out of that 7%, 4% of it's going to come back to me, and the other 3% is actually going into the DAO treasury to do whatever it can to support the community. So very easy split. There it is.
Awesome.
And that is how the royalties are going to be divided.
I have another question. I know you mentioned Proof of Pizza, right? One of the things that Proof of Pizza does with most of their work is give you a bonus pizza delivery. Are you going to be delivering any food to any of your holders? I need to know.
That's great. If the DAO wants to spend the money on it, so be it. That is completely up to their discretion.
I'm totally doing that. Remember this moment, because I'm going to get in that DAO, and my first vote's going to be towards Tom delivering a pizza to somebody.
That would be so awesome.
I love it. So what we always like to do, Tom, on this podcast is Mint Meltdown is all about educating folks how to avoid being scammed or rugged. You've created a product that is right there for it. Can you, though, also kind of give a little bit of some lessons to our listeners of the kind of red flags that may be out there, and your advice on what they should do when they consider investing on an NFT project?
Yeah, I mean, I look at every project that I decide to get into, and I really look at community engagement. So I look at the Twitter, and there's so many people that buy bots out there, and really just kind of go through and see how genuine the tweets are. Are they just a bunch of promoters that they paid, and boom, they have a lot of giveaways and just noise? Or are they actually engaging with the community? Are they actually going in and sitting on Twitter Spaces? Do they have prominent backers that are actually looking into or liking or retweeting or commenting on their posts? That's my big one. And then I also look at a Discord. And I kind of have a rule that I don't even really follow a project unless they have about 5,000 people. And then I want to see about 10% of people online when I go and I look at that initial project. So if they have 5,000, they have about 500 people online. That's going to show me that most of those are not bots at that time.
That's a good one. We haven't heard that one before. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, and those are kind of my big keys. And then obviously going in and looking at the founders and seeing if they're doxxed and trying to get into the numbers side of it. So I'm a very analytical person, and looking at that roadmap and kind of maybe doing a little budget myself and seeing what I believe they could deliver that roadmap on versus what they're saying they're going to mint for. I'd probably go a little bit too deep, but and going this deep, I've still been rugged, which is just incredible and exactly why this fills such a need in the industry.
Such a good point. We've talked to so many experts and people that know better that have still been rugged, just like you said. So to be able to have the trusted shield up there as a true vetter to say, okay, these guys, they stand behind this and I have nothing to lose. If worst case they rug me, I'm getting my money back. I love it. It's brilliant. It's definitely due, and you're probably a pioneer, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people chasing you on this one. It's something that I see a big industry behind. Watching you, they're watching you, Tom, to see how you handle this.
So, Tom,
no pressure.
I have another question for you. I know we ask a lot of our guests. I know we're talking about rugs, but have you ever been scammed? For example,
I have.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening to this because if you haven't been scammed in the NFT space, you haven't been here long enough.
It was right after I watched that TikTok guy just make a bunch of money, and I just Googled like popular NFT projects, or I think I came to a calendar and it had some sort of ape yacht something or other, and I was sitting in their Discord, and it was like a day away from mint. And I got a DM, and it's like, hey, you've been selected for pre-mint max 2. And I'm like, sweet, because I was trying to get whitelisted, and I just really didn't understand this space. And I sent him almost $500. And I should have known, because as I was sending it, I was trying to say, hey, what's the transaction? You want me to send you the transaction code? And I was blocked, but I still sent the money anyways. And then I went into the Discord. I'm like, hey, so-and-so, I'm trying to contact you, but you're blocked me. And just the Discord went nuts. Like, you idiot.
Wow. Those DM scams are really profitable for these scammers. I mean, I fell for one. Lenny fell for one. A couple of guests in the past have fell for one. So I think that's one of the major things that people listening out there is those DMs. Make sure you turn them off in the Discord.
Oh, absolutely. So, Juanzie, I actually have something I want to bring up on your last podcast. You mentioned you want to bring up Project Ponzi or Ponzi NFT.
Oh, that's okay. Me. That's me. I'm going to come to you, Tom. I want to submit Project Ponzi for your support. I'm changing the name slightly. I want to announce that to everyone too. I've decided instead of Project Ponzi, I'm going to call it Project Bonzi. And it's going to look like a bonsai tree that we mispronounced.
Oh,
so now it's not a Ponzi scheme. It's
so
Bonzi.
I actually did the math on it, because that's who I am. You would only be able to sell that 29 times before every person on Earth would hold your NFT.
That's what I'm saying. Do you see how much money I can make? I told the first buyer is going to be the lucky one. So the first one out there that wants to buy my first Bonzi is going to be they'll be my son or child, because it's a parent-child, grandparent relationship. That child is going to get the first split, and that one's going to make almost as much as me. So can I get a trusted shield on that? I'm not rugging, dude. I'm staying with this for life.
Probably not.
All right, I have a question for you, Tom. Here's the scenario. You can have one of these 3 NFTs. You can never sell it. Which one do you choose? Bored Ape, World of Women, or VFriends Series 1?
Ooh. I'm a feminist at heart, so I'm going to go World of Women.
Wow. Big. Yeah, big. Why? Because you're a feminist at heart? I'm a
feminist at heart. They're all great projects, but you got to stand behind women in NFTs these days.
Well, I'd probably say too that one maybe is the only one that is doing something to promote a thing
that,
other than itself.
that as well. I mean,
But Gary over there is just printing money and whatever crazy idea he comes up with, and those ape coins are in my pockets right now. So we'll see what happens. Tom, it's been a real pleasure getting to speak with you. Could you, for our guests one more time, just tell them where they can find you, where they can find the project, how they can keep up with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So Twitter is at Project Shield King Arthur. So in the project, that is a 0, not an O. And then you can find us on projectshield.net.
Awesome. And we will link all of that in our show notes for anyone that wants to check in. And when did you say you were minting?
We are shooting for 60 days after this podcast launches.
Awesome. Okay. So everyone follow me. I'll be in the Discord. I'll be on. Is there a whitelist, Tom?
There is. I initially had a plan of 100 whitelist, so almost 10%. But my marketing manager is trying to convince me to do a tiered marketing. So I'm weighing some options and looking at financials, making sure that we still deliver on that roadmap.
Smart. So get in while you can, guys. I'll be there. I want to be part of this Shield deal. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us. Thank you for joining Meltdown. Juanzie, close us out.
Like always, I'm never ready for this part. Guys, thank you so much for Tom joining us this day on this beautiful
Why do you make this so
I have
awkward?
no idea. I feel so very awkward when I finish this. But guys, another episode of Mint Meltdown. Tom, Project Shield. He might deliver a pizza to you. And he's going to deliver that pizza. He'll mitigate the rug pulls, and they'll get behind every project. Find them on Twitter. Find them on their website. Thank you so much, Tom. I look forward to seeing your project.
Mint Meltdown.